Hey everybody, Todd Michael Putnam from Creative Adventure Tables, bringing you another adventure table idea. This is going to be White Fang Mountain. White Fang Mountain. So the players are off in like an autumn type area. They're doing some marching through the woods. They're trying to take a shortcut in order to get back to the outer borderlands, and they can cut a few days off if they if they go through the woods here. While they're in the woods, nothing happens the first day. Overnight, I'll make for a random encounter. It could be a bear, it could be a badger, it could be anything, but something will be rummaging through their packs, looking for their food, and basically they'll just have to fight it off. Not a monster, they don't have to kill it necessarily, they could just drive it off, so it gets kind of a mundane start to things. But then later in the afternoon for the next day, they hear some wolves barking and growling and stuff, and they come upon this scene over here where there's a bunch of wolves circling a tree with no leaves on it. There's a child up in there. They have to fight off the wolves, obviously, to go rescue the kid. Then they hear some barking, and a dog comes out from from hiding. The child, the girl's maybe 8 years old, and she's mute. She can't speak or anything. But the dog barks and whatnot, and obviously knows her, and basically leads the kid. She's obviously too young to be on her own. Leads the child back to their home where they live. There's a farmer out there in the woods, a farmer and his wife, and there's the dog right there. And they're of course happy to see her, and they say thank you for saving our child. She's been touched by the gods. They live under the shadow of White Fang Mountain, and his daughter was born in the shadow of White Fang Mountain, and so she's been touched by the mountain somehow, and her daughter hears voices. And sometimes she just holds her head in rocks and whatnot and tries to make them go away. And other times she wanders off trying to follow the voices, which usually lead back to the mountain. He's so thankful. He has them stay overnight to show their appreciation. And during the night, the dog starts barking, and there's some howling and stuff. And a bunch of goblins on dire wolves comes around and attacks and sets fire to everything. And of course, everybody flees the house once the house is on fire. And then this guy right here is going to run along, and he's going to grab up the child and run off towards White Fang Mountain while the rest of the dire wolves and goblins fight them off. Eventually, they don't all fight to the death. Eventually, they'll take off, and the father will be like, "Oh, please, I'll reward you. Please save my daughter," etc. And so they head into White Fang Mountain, which will be this. Of course, all this is covered up, and when it starts. First is a room here which doesn't seem to have anything going on, but it turns out there is a secret door. Oh, there we go, a secret door into the mountainway that leads across a chasm. And when they go inside across that bridge, and they're going to need to have a light source, this is where the dire wolves are all staying, and the packmaster. And so there's a fight. There's 3 of them that'll be left. Oop. There's 3 dire wolves in here, and then the goblin packmaster himself. No kid in here. They have to fight it and then climb up and go through this. There's a small little gate in here, and here's the goblin main room where there's some rats and a bunch of other goblin riders and stuff. And they're able to attack them. They're playing card games and whatever goblins do. So they're able to get the jump on them. Even fighting down here right next to them, they're used to the dire wolves making all kinds of noise and barking and snarling and stuff, so they don't pay any attention when the players fight them there. So they take care of these guys here, and then they move through this doorway, and then there's another higher bridge showing a deeper chasm below. And there's like whispering voices that they can hear when they come across this cavern thing going on. It's like they can't make it out what they're saying, but they hear like whispers almost inside of their head. There are some goblins to fight over here, so they go ahead and fight them. They go into this room here, where they go through that door. There's a sleeping ogre. He may be sleeping, he may not, depending on how long it takes for them to fight the goblins. They have to fight him off or sneak past him. They could do either. Come up here. There's a little small room down here where there's some skeletons and a metal chest and whatnot. And if they go and try and open that chest up and stuff, this is basically a pit for throwing dead bodies in. And there's a gray ooze in there that basically obviously eats people and stuff that will attack them. And then we'll skip around over here. So then they eventually come up to this side here, and here's where they're going up higher and higher into the mountain, right? So this was the base floor, and then they went up a level, and then they have to go up another level to get to here, then up another level. So it starts getting higher in the mountain, and so here it's a cold chamber. It's all ice and snow and whatnot. And coming out of the ice and snow, there's a couple of frost scorpions that I have, homebrew stuff going on here, that do, like, their poison doesn't kill, it slows people, it like freezes their blood, and it puts them at disadvantage on their attacks, disadvantage on their saving throws or ability checks. So I have to deal with them, and then eventually there's like a little bridge overpass they have to get to, and it comes to here. And here they'll see this is where the kid will be. He'll be being held captive by the goblin king or boss. There's a couple of goblin shaman that are here, and a couple more trained wolves. And they'll cast some spells and stuff. Not the wolves, but the shaman. And they'll basically do battle to try and save the kid. There's this huge thing of an icy hand that's been come to, that clearly the goblins didn't do. There's a little shabby throne that the goblins obviously put on top of it, but this ice hand sculpture was something that was inside. Something greater clearly did this. And so they have to fight and obviously rescue the girl. Now, why would the Goblin King, kidnap this kid? You have no idea. Well, after they kill the Goblin King, or when he's dying, he'll say, "I still hear the whispers." The same whispers that the players heard when they were over the chasm over here. And the little kid is holding her head and rocking her ears, and she's doing that same thing, like she hears voices again, but she can't get them out of her head. So as the players come back down around in order to leave, that's when the whispers get really loud, and she points down into here that the source of the whispers is somewhere down in this cavern. If you drop a torch down there, it'll fall, and it'll be like it's like 60 feet or so. So and to the bottom of the cavern. So if the players want to stop the whispering voices that are causing the child to basically go mad, and also apparently what was directing the Goblin King and his minions, then what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to take these ropes from the bridge and snap them together and bring it in so they can slide down into that crevice. And then the next session will be into the heart of the mountain of the White Fang Mountain. And that'll be the second part for this adventure. So that's the basic idea, the real quick down and dirty of it. These are all Dwarven Forge here. So this is obviously the Dwarven Forge ice cavern set. And then a whole lot of their regular sets, regular caverns. These guys here, these big blocks here, are for them their mountain escarpments. I've got a bunch of those all along on the front side here is what makes that happen. And you can see all along on this way. Out here, I have mostly Monster Fight Club to create this really, I think, pretty awesome looking autumn scene. The battle mat was from Cigar Mats or something like that. They basically make cloth mats 6 foot by 4 foot, and this is their autumn mat. And then I've got some painted up Monster Fight Club trees. So that came out pretty good, I think. It's got a real nice autumn feel to it. And then as far as the elevation is concerned, if we switch over here to the back side, we can see that I didn't use my Todd tiles this time. I just used Dwarven Forge elevation blocks. And then on top of, there's a Irithor Mountain Set terrain tray is what they're called. That's I didn't have to use those. I could use something else. But anyways, I basically just used solid terrain trays to put on top to stack it up in order to create the elevation. So, which gives obviously the mountain its height. So that's it. It's the first part of a 2-part session, and then the players will have to go through and do some more dungeon delving for the next one. But so that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next adventure. Take care. Bye.